Hi CTET aspirants. Today in this series we will understand how listening, speaking, reading and writing skills are developed and why they matter in teaching and learning. Today we are going to discuss about English pedagogy, in which we are going to discuss about the 4 language skills. What will you learn? Concepts of language skills and their importance in the classroom, constructivist approach to language learning, classroom practices and activities to enhance each skill, previous year's questions with explanation to help you prepare better for CTET. And here it goes. The first question says, which of the following is not correctly matched? If you see, there are 4 options. First option says B.F. Skinner to LAD, language acquisition device, Pavlov, theory of classical conditioning, Chomsky, theory of operant conditioning, and none of the above. They are asking which of the following is not correctly matched. If you see, B.F. Skinner is not associated with operant conditioning. See, here they are mentioning B.F. Skinner to LAD. Actually, Chomsky is the person who proposed the concept of LAD, not B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner is the person who played a role related to operant conditioning. So, option A is incorrect. And also option C, Chomsky is the person who came up with the idea of LAD. He did not propose the theory of operant conditioning. So option C is also wrong. So 1 and 3 is the correct answer. State which of the following is not true in context of learning and acquisition. Acquisition is a natural process. Learning is a continuous process. Learning results in a subject proficiency. Acquisition helps in cognitive abilities. If you see, learning does not always results in subject proficiency. It only brings an important changes in behavior and understanding, not necessarily proficiency. Proficiency is actually the ability to use language accurately and effectively. So option C, learning results in a subject proficiency, is the correct answer. Moving on to the third question, the most important aspect of an effective language classroom is to provide learners with an opportunity to interact, interfere, assess, imitate. If you see, students should be made to interact. Interaction is the heart of language learning. It actually helps the learners use language actively, build confidence, express ideas, and develop real life communication skills. Moving on to the next 4th question. It says constructivism in language learning focuses on option A, the dominant role of the teacher in the classroom. Option B says engaging learners in exploring new knowledge. Option C, the role of imitation. Option D, memorizing grammar rules. If you see, constructivism believes that learners construct their own understanding by exploring, experiencing, and reflecting. So it mainly focuses on engaging learners in exploring new language or new knowledge. So option B, engaging learners in exploring new knowledge, is the correct answer. Question 5 says, constructivism is a theory where students study a variety of dissimilar samples and draw a well-founded conclusion, form their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and reflecting on those experiences, are facilitated by the teacher and use a variety of media to research and create their own theory, construct their own learning aids, thereby giving hands-on experiences. If you see, constructivism is a theory where learners actively build their own understanding based on their experiences and reflection rather than passively receiving information. So, answer is option B, form their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and reflecting on those experiences. Question 6 says, in class 2, sharing stories familiar experiences and interests, employing gestures where appropriate is a subskill of option A reading, option B listening, option C speaking, and option D writing. If you see, sharing stories where we employ our gestures would be a subskill of speaking. Option C speaking would be the correct answer, because sharing stories, experiences, and using gestures are part of speaking skills which involve expressing ideas and communicating. Moving on, question 7 says, a teacher of class 5 is practicing interactive listening in the class. What does it involve? Option A, listening and observing speaker's attitude. Option B, listening to word stress and intonation. Option C, listening to the pronunciation. Option D, listening and responding. If you see, interactive listening means it just does not involve only hearing, but also responding through feedback, questions, and appropriate reactions would also be involved. So, option D, listening and responding would be the correct answer. Moving on to question number 8. A person who is a fluent speaker is likely to possess logico mathematical ability, bodily kinesthetic ability, musical ability, and verbal linguistic ability. A person who is a fluent speaker is likely to possess, a fluent speaker would possess verbal linguistic ability. Here, verbal linguistic ability is the capacity of any person to use words effectively while speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Question number 9 says, children's oral language development forms an important foundation for learning literacy. Which of the following classroom practices enables oral language development? Option A, memorizing and reciting poems individually or in a chorus. Option B, chorus reading of a story in the textbook along with the teacher. Option C, practicing the correct pronunciation of words in a chorus. Option D, participating in role plays on favorite stories. If you see here, the question is about children's oral language development. So, option D, participating in role plays on favorite stories would be the correct answer. Because role plays encourage children to speak, express ideas, listen, respond, and interact, which builds oral language skills among the learners. Last question of the day. In order to drive home the point that listening skill matters, students should be exposed to popular English films and reviewing them, taken to the language lab once a week for practice and feedback, allowed to listen to CDs of poetry, read aloud by well-known voice artists, reminded that listening skill practices related to real life. Here, listening skill actually matters because it is reminded that listening skill practices relate to real life. Because when students understand the real life issue, real life use and importance of listening, they develop interest and apply it meaningfully. Key takeaways of today's class: language learning develops through LSRW. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Constructivist learning encourages students to build knowledge through experience, exploration, and reflection. Interactive and communicative activities such as discussions, storytellings, role plays, and group work strengthen language skills. Teachers should create a learner-centered environment that promotes participation, confidence, and meaningful communication. Remember, language is not learned by memorizing rules alone. It is learned by using it meaningfully. Success in CTET comes from understanding concepts, not just remembering answers. Keep learning, keep practicing, keep growing. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe for more CTET pedagogy videos. in my YouTube channel, Learn with Indralakshmi, and also follow my Instagram ID, Indu Aka Indra. Let's learn together. Thank you, one and all. Thank you for your patient listening.